What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video on high altitude investing. In today's video, I am going to be telling you guys the biggest mistakes I have made in my investing journey. You guys, if you guys can avoid any of these mistakes that I state in this video, you will save yourself from a lot of losses and make a lot of money inside of these markets. So this video is going to be pretty awesome. I am going to get kind of personal with you guys, confess some of my sins in my investing journey, and hopefully it can be a benefit to a lot of people. If you guys are not a subscriber to my channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, as well as sharing this video with your friends and commenting down below. You guys, I am dedicated to uploading regularly, especially through this bull market, especially while things are undervalued. As things get more overvalued, you will see me focusing more in on my VIP stuff, and there's good reason for that, which you will learn about later. But right now, while things are really undervalued, I am dedicated to uploading, so make sure that you subscribe to go ahead and receive these videos. Without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. So what are the biggest mistakes I have made in my investing journey? Well, there's a lot of mistakes I've made in my investing journey. I'll say that right away. I have been doing this since 2015. My little brother told me about Bitcoin in 2014. I bought my first Bitcoin in 2015. I started trading seriously in 2016, and then I took it really seriously in 2017. So I've been doing it for a long time now, looking at Bitcoin, watching these charts, these candlesticks. So I have made a lot of mistakes, and if I was to count all of them, there's no way I could put it in a single video. But I did grab my phone this morning and I wrote down a good amount of mistakes that I've made in my investing journey that help you guys avoid making those same mistakes, right? So I'm going to just start here with my first one. Probably the first biggest mistake I've made in my investing journey is spending my profits out of ego rather than reinvestment. What do I mean by that? Well, this market has blessed me beyond my wildest dreams. There has been days where I pulled $100,000 out of this market in an hour as a result of trading, investing. Now that boosted my ego to heights beyond measure. I'll be honest with you. And it's not been easy learning how to manage that and control that. And so I would say probably one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made in my investing journey is spending my profits out of ego, making $100,000 and then just going out to travel, spending $5,000 on an Airbnb and going all over America and traveling. And, people told me, oh, you're young, you got to do that stuff while you're young. I'm young. I should have been reinvesting my money and planning my future for my family. I wasn't thinking about any of those things. I was just self-serving. I was spending that money on what sounded fun for Dallin a lot of times. Not every time. I was quite generous as well. But I definitely spent more profits out of ego than I should have, rather than reinvesting it back into the markets. And the more that I would have reinvested back into the markets, it would have helped me a lot. I would have made a lot more money. I wouldn't have been as sad in the dips, because I would have had more money to buy in the dips. Just would have been a lot better of a situation. So whatever you guys do, as you start to make serious money in these markets, do not spend your profits out of ego. Figure out a worthy goal to live for. Having $1 million is pretty meaningless if you're not using it to help other people. And you are not going to find true happiness in this life if you're just serving yourself continually. I testify that that is true. So yeah, you guys, do not spend your profits out of ego. Rather, reinvest your money. The other thing that I did wrong in these markets quite often was getting too excited near tops. This is something that's very common in investing and trading. It's one of the first things you learn about. It's called FOMO, fear of missing out. You start to see the market rising. You start to see the higher price targets that it could go to. And out of fear of missing those higher targets, you end up doubling down on your investments as prices are nearing the peak. I've made that mistake many times in my investing, and it definitely burns you, especially because when the market turns back the other way around, you always wish that you would have had some more profits to put into the market. And it's just easy to get caught up in the emotion of the cycle. It gets really exciting, and going back to the whole spending profits on ego thing, these feed each other. Anytime that you're letting your ego get out of control and you're making a ton of money in the markets, a lot of times people end up doubling down. Yeah, they're spending money, but whatever money they're not spending, they're doubling down on their investments. So it's usually out of ego and emotion, and it does lead to, you wishing that you would have taken more profits later. So that's definitely a mistake I have made many times in my investing journey, and one that if you guys can avoid making, you will save a lot of money in these markets. The other mistake I've made a lot in my investing journey is buying too many coins, you guys. Having like 50 projects in my portfolio at once, instead of going through and using all of the technical analysis that I've learned to pick, 15 or 10 setups, putting them in a portfolio and then holding them for 3, 6 months or a year or whatever time frame I'm looking in those investments. And so buying too many coins ends up over diversification. Then you can't keep track of it all, and it's hard to know where your coins are at. You end up forgetting about certain exchanges. You end up having coins on random Uniswap wallets, on random computers, on old Trezor wallets, and you just lose track of it all. Sometimes the people that buy 10 coins and put it on like one Trezor and hold it for like 5 years do better than people that try to get like 50 coins on all these different places and 100,000 NFTs and all this different stuff. Now, there is a thing to be said for diversification and getting some diversity. That's wise as well, but simplicity is power, you guys, so find that balance in your trading. Buying too many projects has definitely been something that screwed me. In some ways, I was kind of glad later because I did end up finding some exchanges, and I'm like, oh, whoa, there's $5,000 in my old BitShares wallet, But that it's still like, if I wouldn't have remembered that it was there, and I'm sure that I still have wallets in other places where money is just lost because I forgot. So that's something you don't want to do yourself. The other thing is not buying enough in dips. You guys, I've always had a pretty clear idea as far as market sentiment goes as the bottom is coming in the markets. But as a result of getting too egotistical near the tops, or as I said, spending too much money, like I said, at the tops, or getting too FOMO at the top, not having as much as I wish I would have near the bottom to buy the dip. Now, with that being said, I have been blessed enough to buy the dip in Bitcoin many times and have great profits as a result of that many times over. I've made a lot of money buying dips, but I always wished I would have had more, especially since when the real bottom came, it was extremely apparent to me. I just knew. And even if I had tried to call the bottom slightly before that and another lower low came, when the true bottom was in, my heart always told me, this is it, Dallin. So just wishing I would have had more money, it would have always been nice to buy those dips, because I have been surprisingly accurate about the absolute bottoms. My heart has been telling me where those are over and over again. Even if, like I said, even if there's a one more lower low below where I thought it was going to be, I just knew there was a side of me that just had a certain conviction. Even when so-called top analysts and other traders were bearish, and the majority of the market was bearish, like what we see right now. The other mistake I made too much in my investing was trusting other people's analysis. The amount of times where I drew a chart and showed like a certain price target that it was going to go to, and then saw somebody else's chart and said, oh, that guy must be better than me. He must have more experience. And then that guy was wrong and I was right, is a lot of times. I'm not saying you can't learn from other people. Go learn as much knowledge as you can from other people, but start learning how to trust yourself as well in these markets. Start learning how to trust your own knowledge that you have gained. As you apply it, you will learn how to trust yourself more, and you'll start to realize that you see things that other people don't, and you have a unique perspective to offer to this market. And you could be a great blessing to other people, offering that unique perspective to them. So, don't be scared to trust yourself. And as you get better, don't be scared to show other people what you're learning on the internet, even if it's just a trading journal like this channel is. This is my trading journal. I have a lot of educational content, but don't be scared to share what you're learning, and don't be scared to trust yourself. I wish I would have done that more. Not tracking, this is huge, you guys. And this goes along with ego and some of the things I've made. This is kind of an ego thing, but not tracking enough of my trades thoroughly. I'm talking Excel sheets. This kind of goes along with having too many investments as well. But not tracking my trades has been a huge mistake. And when tax season came around, it was just a mess trying to find all of those things, not knowing where my trades are. And then also, not knowing exactly what win rate, knowing that I made a massive profit because I went from having like $1,000 to my name to like 32 BTC in my Bitcoin wallet, right? But still not having enough data of what trade I went wrong on, what trade I went right on, due to a lack of tracking. So even though I ended up winning, the more tracking I could have done would have helped me a lot. And it also would have probably helped so that when the bear markets come around, I would have been able to look back and say, oh, look at all these successful trades I took in the bull market. Let's take this strategy, reverse it the other way for the bear market, right? So track your trades, you guys. That is huge. So to summarize, spending my profits out of ego rather than reinvesting. That's huge, you guys. I did that a lot. Getting too excited near tops without enough willingness to be open-minded to my bearish counts. I almost always had an alternative bearish count near the tops of markets, but I was just leaning more in towards my emotion and not trusting those bearish alternatives enough. Not buying enough in the dips. As I said, I've been blessed enough to buy these dips, the coronavirus dip, a little bit in the 2008 dip. I first got into Bitcoin in 2015 in a massive dip. I didn't really know it was a dip at that time, but it was a huge blessing. But with that being said, I always wish I would have been able to put more in. And just trusted that everybody's, like right now, FUD articles everywhere, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, people calling for an 80% correction, people saying we're going to have a 90% decline in altcoins or an 80% decline in altcoins, when if you go measure their altcoins, we're already down 80% in the last year. How are you going to get two of those, right? So just not trusting myself and buying the dip and not having enough capital as a result of FOMO buying in those dips. That was a huge mistake, you guys. So buy the dips, This isn't financial advice, but in my journey, not buying dips or wishing I had put more in has been a mistake that I've made. Trusting other analysts over my gut. This one is huge, you guys. There's so many people that are bearish right now and I'm not. So I have to trust myself, right? I have to be able to go against the crowd. 80 to 90% of the market loses money. So if you can't trust your own analysis, if you're only leaning on other people, probability says that 80 to 90% are going to be wrong. So if you can't learn to trust yourself, 80 to 90% of those people you're deciding to trust are going to be wrong, right? So probability does not favor trusting other people. It favors trusting the actual rules and techniques, which, by the way, stay till the end of this video for a little bit more about this. But it takes trusting the actual rules of trading, the actual methods that work, not other people. Trust the science, right? And then not tracking my trades. or being in too many coins at once. So that you guys, if you guys can avoid those things, having 32 BTC in your wallet, you'll probably get more than that. If I was able to make that much money being as stupid as I am in the past, making all of these mistakes, you guys can do very well learning from my mistakes and applying that. Now, the things that I did well, I have done well. As I said, even if I start calling a bottom, if we made another lower low, I have done very well at understanding absolute bottoms due to sentiment. Seeing the psychology, the sentiment of the market has been very clear to me. Just where it's like, oh, this is as clear as the sun rising in the morning that people are panic selling here when they should be buying. The other thing I did well was never giving up. Never giving up. Like I said, I've been doing this since 2015. Started trading in 2016 and started taking it seriously in 2017. And my little brother told me about Bitcoin in 2014. So, I could have gave up. There's been times where I've made $100,000 and there's been times where I lost 8 Bitcoin in my sleep, So there's been a lot of wins and a lot of losses, and I could have given up in those losses, but I didn't. I never gave up. I never stopped uploading. So that has been very beneficial and something that will benefit you guys as well. The other thing is sticking to my big picture trading plans. You guys, I've been talking about 100K per Bitcoin for so long now. Even when we were at 3K per Bitcoin, and then when everybody panic sold again during the coronavirus panic and they were calling for 1,000 per Bitcoin, I stuck to my big picture trading plan. I made videos. I informed people that I was bullish, and we did break out. And I'm still sticking to my big picture trading plan. And for anybody that's VIP knows that I even have another target. This is my public target for Bitcoin. But for the VIPs, you guys know that I have a trading plan and I stick to that. So that's very important, something I've been very proud of in the past that I've successfully done. The other thing, you guys, is sharing my wealth with others. Even though I definitely spent it out of ego and definitely did more traveling and probably could have planned for my future better, I always shared. I was always willing to give. I was always willing to give to people who were in need or who had less than me. I always wanted to give money to my roommates, the people I love, the people I was around, even when I had basically nothing. Even when I had very little or had made a lot of bad trading decisions and was way down in my investments, I was willing to give, and I think that blessed me long term in these markets. The other thing is trading patterns, market cycles, and Elliott waves long enough to spot opportunity. Here's a market cycle, right? So when everybody was bearish at 3K, due to my market cycle analysis, my Elliott waves and things that I've learned, I was bullish. So I've been able to apply those things very successfully in these markets. And it's something that I've done very well and something that you guys should learn a little bit too. Like I said, stay till the end of this video, but those market cycles are very, very powerful. Elliott waves is powerful. Fibonacci is powerful. And you can learn to spot it from a mile away, where it's like, wow, that's a time to buy. And sticking to my big picture trading plan, never giving up, sharing my wealth with others, and learning these trading patterns and Elliott waves are the things I did well. So hopefully this video can give you guys a little bit of both sides of myself, the good and the bad in Dallin. I'm not perfect, you guys. I never want you guys to think that I'm some angel from heaven in these videos. But I do want you to be aware that if you're making these mistakes in your investing, you're no different than me. And even the people that I learned investing from, one of my first mentors, he made, I think it was 56,000 or something in his early years. I can't remember exactly how much. Anyways, he made his first big fortune when he was pretty young, and then he lost all of it, like every dollar. And then he made it back, and he's a multimillionaire now, right? So that's the other thing, you guys. If you've made these mistakes, if you're down in your portfolio, don't give up. The best traders, a lot of the best investors are the guys that have made those mistakes, but they didn't give up. It's like skateboarding. Go find a skateboarder that hasn't crashed a few times. That's good. You can't. You will not find a good skater that hasn't crashed a few times that is good at what he does. So you can't fear failure. You can't fear your mistakes. You just learn how to learn from them, and share others what you're learning along that journey, and it will bless you. So you guys, thank you so much for staying clear till the end. For anybody that's wondering about Bitcoin, I have not changed my convictions. Go watch yesterday's video or follow me on Twitter or check in the Discord. I remain bullish on Bitcoin. I see a lot of fear articles, a lot of people scared right now. So if you want to take advantage of some of this opportunity in the markets, make 45 times, learn some of these tools that I'm talking about in these videos. I created the Mastermind program to help people make their first 100K and their first million investing in these markets. As I have, as my friends have, I've helped make female millionaire student. Shout out to you, by the way, if you're watching this video. Xiaoxi. My best friend has made a lot of money in these markets. My little brother has good money in these markets. My cousin has money in these markets. My family has money in these markets. My grandma has made money in these markets. My Discord members, I had a student that made 2.6 million off of a single Stellar Lumens trade, which, by the way, there's a setup that I just posted in my Discord, which is a mirror image inside of my VIP of that same trade that my student made 2.6 million on that single trade. So if that's some stuff you want to learn, if you want to change your life, apply below. Just takes a few minutes to apply for the mastermind, and then I'll hop on the phone with you. If I'm doing a video or something, it'll have to be my cousin Monson, but we'll help get you guys inside today. The program is $4,999, although it's worth closer to $25,000, so we've dropped the price way down to make it available to the public. We turn a $10,000 portfolio into $100,000 in 12 weeks. If we don't make it in exactly 12 weeks, we extend your membership completely free. And like I said, it's to help you make your first 100,000, your first million, and to teach you guys the tools so you can learn how to trust yourself and not be thrown around by the market and by all the fear and the FUD. So thank you guys for tuning into today's video. I hope that it helped some people. Hope that it gave you guys some knowledge, some wisdom in your trading journey. And I look forward to seeing you guys in those future videos. As always, stay profitable out there.